The State Department has issued a warning that none of us saw coming. And it's about Africa, Congo, Rwanda,
Uganda.
Uganda. I've been getting notifications on my phone on WhatsApp from the State Department, and they are saying if you are an American in the Congo, in Rwanda, in Uganda, you need to get out of there now because of the Ebola crisis. Now, if you're like, what on earth is Ebola? Well, let me just remind you. Remember, from
Mm.
2015 to 2018, there was a huge Ebola outbreak in Western Africa that basically led to the unalivement of 30,000 plus people in West Africa. It picked up again in the Congo in about 2019-ish. And then, of course, 2020 was the pandemic, C19, that we all know we went through. But now they're saying this is a new strain. This is why it's a State Department official alert. You need to watch this video to the end because you just don't know how this alert is going to change life for you. Now, I want to tell you something. Americans have already been impacted. Here's how. There was an American operating on a man in the Congo. He was helping him, okay? Because Ebola is a hemorrhagic fever. Hemorrhages mean internal bleeding. It starts out as a flu, cough, chills, sniffles, similar to C19, similar to the actual flu or having a cold. But then it gets really, really bad. And you start hemorrhaging or bleeding out of your internal organs, coughing up blood. I mean, it's a very scary thing with a
Mm.
50% death rate, mortality rate, okay? And so this man, he's operating on this Congolese guy. But of course, through operations, you're being exposed to blood, you're being exposed to pathogens and germs. And so he catches it essentially, or allegedly,
Mm.
okay? Now, he wanted to fly back to America to get treatment because, when you're sick, you want to go to your home, you want to be good. But they said, oh, no, sir, you can't come in America. So they sent this man to Europe, okay? They sent him all the way
Yeah.
over to Germany.
Leave your comments below because man, you this is something that you really have to pay attention to. It always starts in Africa. I believe the last Ebola outbreak started in Africa,
They always do.
where yeah, it always does. So I always say you have to pay attention to things like this when you are traveling, when you are thinking about moving to the continent. You don't want to go to the wrong country or close to the wrong country because it could spread. It started in Congo, then Uganda, now Rwanda. A lot of things are happening in East Africa, Central Africa, so you have to be careful.
Wow, that's true. East Africa, Central Africa. That's interesting. Now, Rwanda, it's really a great country. But if you are moving to Rwanda, if you're traveling, if you are in Rwanda, you really want to pay attention to this and decide, hey, do
Mhm.
I want to have an exit route? Do I want to have a secondary residency that I can go get somewhere? Of course, you should visit your doctor and clear yourself for Ebola,
Mhm.
right? Make sure that you are completely healthy, but then maybe look at like, hey, do I want to maybe try to go to West Africa for a minute or North Africa? Do I want to chill out in Morocco for a time or do I want to go somewhere else for a season? Because you just don't know how long this will last. Now, I believe that this will not be a full worldwide outbreak because it is not as contagious as an airborne illness. This is literally
Mm.
like very close contact. Obviously, a surgeon has the closest contact as anybody to someone who's sick because he's exposed to their organs and their blood and everything, but it comes from like super close contact with people. It's not just floating in the air. You don't have to be like super overly afraid, but nonetheless, you do need to be aware to maybe avoid Central Africa, maybe avoid East Africa for a season, go
Mm.
elsewhere, get in community with people who are on the continent, but or maybe somewhere else like an island nation, maybe in Southern Africa, maybe in Western or Northern Africa for a season,
Or
just to see if you could get secondary residency retirement somewhere else. And then if you decide to later, after everything clears up, come right back. Now, you should know this prompts us to do the urgent state of the diaspora for June. Okay. So if you've been listening to this channel, this is cohort 2022 of the state of the diaspora. We have done this so many times since 2024 when we came up against corruption in East Africa and decided, we have to call the state of the diaspora so that we can have a council and speak about these things in an intimate setting with only 8 to 12 people and us, okay? So check out the link in the description. The ticket is $100 to be in the room. We are going to cover the best places for you to get residence that are outside Central and East Africa. Now, we know you want to be long term in your travels. You are not trying to do 30, 60, 90-day visa runs. We are talking about the stuff that they don't even know about here on YouTube. A lot of people, a lot of
That's good.
creators
Yeah.
just don't even know what's available. But we love to research and we always stay in tune with what's available, of course, because we have 6 children as well. So we stay up to par for them. But you can get that information too. See you there.
Yes, yes. Something you said is about the seasons, right?
Mm,
So this makes me think about now in Southern Africa. I want to say in East Africa too. It's really only two seasons, right? Hot
yeah.
season or rainy season, or they say winter. It
Hmm.
is winter time now. So what is happening with this outbreak? They say, it's a little bit cooler than usual. It's a little bit colder. So you might see some videos that some places might be snowing. You get what I'm saying? I know
In
there's some
Southern
places
Africa.
in southern Africa that's going to be snowing, and it's going to be like, what? It's snow in Africa? Yes, it snows in Africa. So that's something to think about too. So it is smart to make sure you notice seasons when you are traveling. For us, we are starting to get used to this weather. When we first got here, I would say, yeah, it's like they say winter, and we're like, no, it's hot. I'm still sweating. But now
Right,
since
right.
we've been here for 6 years, it's like, okay,
Yeah,
now we can understand why they call it winter. It is a
yeah.
little bit
It's
cooler,
colder.
at night, in the morning and stuff. So that is something very important to know when you are traveling to Southern Africa, East Africa.
Yeah, you need to know that. And of course, sicknesses are seasonal too. I
Exactly.
thought that's what you were getting into.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, in the winter, if you're in the States, flu season, whatever. Y'all are in the summer in the States and in Canada, but over here in Africa, it's technically like rainy season, winter
Hmm.
time. So be aware of that. Again, this is a State Department warning. They say it's a new strain. Who knows if it's manufactured or if it's natural? Who knows? But at the end of the day, the fact is that it's already here and it's already unaliving people, and so you do want to take this serious. This isn't like C19 where it's just like cold flu. It's not that bad. This is like a hemorrhagic fever. Like you don't want your organs to be bleeding from the inside and you're throwing up vomit and blood. That's just horrible. Hopefully those people get healing. Hopefully it doesn't spread too much. And, stay wise, stay discerning,
Hmm.
stay observing,
Intelligent. Yeah.
get counsel, get advisors, get people who have been on the ground in Africa consecutively in stability, not bouncing around every 30 days, but like actually stability. Talk to those people because you want to understand the dynamics on the continent. Remember,
Hmm.
Africa is not a country. Africa is not the UK. Africa is not America. Africa is not Mexico. Africa is a continent of 54 different countries, and it could be 55 soon because of Somaliland. And so all of these countries are extremely different, different languages, different cultures, different peoples, different ethnic groups. So what
Hmm.
goes for one country does not go for them all, especially as you move from different regions like North Africa, West Africa, Central Africa, East Africa, South Africa, the island
Hmm.
nations of Africa. There is a lot of variance and a lot of diversification. Now, I think that's about it for this video. What do you think?
No, it's something important that people need to understand. So if you are in these countries, Congo, Uganda, Rwanda, and it's probably going to spread more. This is what today's
True.
Thursday, so I'm pretty sure they are pushing this out to control some things. But most of people, or I'll say Africans in these countries that want to go to America cannot.
Right. Right.
So this is something I believe is
Yeah.
something bigger. So I always say like, yes, pay attention to what they say, but make sure you can step back and see the bigger picture of what's happening. So don't be fearful. Always pray, always ask the Most High, what is it that you need to do to make sure that you are being obedient? Because just think 2019, 2020, COVID, the pandemic,
What a
man,
time.
a lot of people was fearful, but when we stepped out on faith and not fear, everything was okay. So I just want to say, like, this could be a fear tactic in a way, but you have to pay attention. You really do. You got to be safe. You got to make sure that you are cleansed in a way. You got to make sure that you are diligent in a next step that you take. You got to be
Yeah.
wise. You got to be discerning, like for real,
Yeah.
because they do these things for a reason. Leave your comments below and let me know what your thoughts are. But Yeah, there's viruses, there's outbreaks everywhere that's coming out, so you have to pay attention, guys.
Yeah, you need to pay attention. And we'll leave you with this. These are the four countries that the State Department is sending the advisory for: the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Uganda, South Sudan, and Rwanda. So stay aware, stay alert, and visit www.journeywithusmovetoafrica.com.
Shalom, family.
Shalom.